move your drain pan to the right side of your radiator, and if you look right down here, you can see a little wing screw. Go ahead and loosen the wing screw and start draining your coolant. Now that you've started draining it, go ahead and take off your radiator cap. That'll allow the system to breathe better and it will drain significantly quicker. This cap doesn't seem to fit on there too well, but that's alright. I should just leave that right there for now. While that's draining, we'll go ahead and remove the bolts for the top mounts. To remove these bolts, you just need a 10 millimeter. And as you move this bolt, you should just be able to rotate this around, and that really should be all the room you need. Alright, now those are removed, go ahead and take off your top mounts. Put them someplace safe. I always recommend using a magnet tray for everything. And now you're going to want to remove your top radiator hose. Get this out of the way, and then we can go ahead and start removing the fans. Okay. You want to be careful if you're still draining a radiator like we are. There can still be coolant in these lines. Right, while your radiator is draining and you've already got your radiator loose, go ahead and take off your main fan here. We're going to leave this one on because it's not really in the way. You can pull it out and it's just easier to get all the bolts off after you have the radiator removed. And this is held on by 4 10 millimeter bolts. That is 2 bolts up here and 2 bolts below. This is not a difficult job, but you have to decide between a deep and a regular 10 millimeter socket. And we'll see how the it'll probably be easier to use the deep down there. There's 3. The last bolt is the trickiest one to get to. You can go underneath the vehicle and get to it probably a little bit easier, but I'm trying to make this video without using or without having the need of lifting the vehicle. So go ahead and get you a stubby 10 mil on a 1/4 inch ratchet, and that'll give you more space to get down here. You just gotta kind of feel for it, and if you look at this side, you can get kind of the measurement off on it. And I've already got a bite on it. Okay. With that, we can just also remove your overflow line. Move that out of the way. And if you undid all the bolts up here, your connector should be easy to turn, and that way you can just take it apart. And we're going to nice and gently go ahead and actually lift this on that side of the AC line. Okay, and now you have access to your lower radiator hose. So what we're going to try to do is grab this hose and rotate the entire hose so we can get a better view of the actual clamp right there. And hopefully this will be all we need to get a solid bite on it. I'm actually going to rotate a little bit more. There we go. That's all we need right there. There you go. we're going to go ahead and move this over to in front of the lower hose, and we're just going to pull it. I'm trying to save as much coolant as possible. I'm going to actually drag these both up here and reposition them so they don't move. If you need to zip tie them, you can. Doesn't look like it's necessary though. Now, for doing your transmission lines, the longer line goes to the right and the shorter one goes to the left, just how it is on the Radiator, so you don't really need to mark these. It's pretty easy to remember. And just disconnect them here so you don't have to fight them down underneath of the other fan. There you go. And then you might be able to twist these lines. There you go. Make sure that your catch can is under here to catch the radiator fluid as well, if you do lose any, which apparently I will not, at least not on this one. This vehicle has been sitting for a couple of days though, while they're this one you can tell has some fluid in it. You can see it already bubbling up. Go ahead and put that down so it goes straight into the drain pan underneath. Let's give that a few minutes to get what little's in there out of there. So it's nice and controlled. Don't make a mess. While that's doing that, you can go ahead and just pull this up gently. Don't rip it out, but you can move this. It's on some thin metal, and disconnect that fan. Now that you've got your connector disconnected, everything's almost ready to come out. You just need to reach down here, and there are wires going to your AC compressor. Just go ahead and push forward on that tab, and it slides right off. And with that, the radiator is ready to be pulled. Make sure that your lines are safe and not going to get caught up in anything. Go ahead and connect them back together a little bit. And this one's hooked right there into the fan shroud. Alright, and then don't pull on your AC line too much. And there you go, the radiator's removed. Make sure that both of your rubber fittings are still down here by the new radiator. Right. Let's go ahead and transfer some of these parts. Need 10mm to undo this. I'm actually just going to do that first. Make sure that your lines are all flush down there on no space. Go ahead and braid this loose. Take 10mm. Make sure you take it easy on these hoses unless you're just going to replace them anyway, in which case you don't need to remove them at all. But for everyone else, it's probably going to be We're using these hoses. Make sure you're gentle on them. Don't use any sharp tools to try to remove them. Make sure you now removing the other fan. Now on this side, there's a little clip right here. This is just thin metal. You can bend it out of the way pretty easy. And there's the other fan. Go ahead and start by reinstalling this fan. Make sure that this rubber sealer is down there nice and tight, or else you won't be able to get these lined up properly up top. Okay, there's that. Make sure that your clip on the side locks into the front fin. Go ahead and grab these bolts back. Good to go. Now, go ahead and restage everything, just how it was when we removed it the first time. And go ahead and put the new radiator in. Be gentle not to hurt your condenser as you're installing this. This is your condenser, by the way, for people who do not know that. We do not know that. We'll go ahead, reach down here and feel for the little feet sticking out and go ahead and secure it in that rubber mount that I pointed out earlier. And then, alright, go ahead and start by reconnecting the short transmission line, transmission cooler line. And it's easier just to do these one at a time so you don't have to fight around when you're moving the clamps on these. Make sure you bend it out of the way so you give yourself plenty of room to get that main fan in. Alright, fan's in, transmission line is reconnected. Also, I doubt you'll have an issue, but make sure you check your butterfly valve down there before you install the radiator. Make sure it's locked. I've never experienced them being unlocked before when they're brand new, but just to be safe. No point in wasting time and coolant when you go to fill this thing up. Okay, next we'll go ahead and put your radiator hoses back on. When putting your radiator hoses back on, go ahead and turn your clamps so that they are easier to get from the top. And then go ahead and reset your clamps for the lower radiator hose. Beautiful. Go ahead, leave the top radiator hose out of the way. Go ahead, and if you can look right here, you can see that there are slide points for this. So grab your two dirtiest bolts. Go ahead, just put them in a few turns and then make sure that the washer and everything is pushed back. Don't need to have an unnecessary fight because it lands on a washer instead of the stud of the bolt. Right. And again, slide it in on the motor side of the AC line. Good to go. We'll start tightening these top bolts and tighten the lower ones. Alright, so now you've got, leave this bolt out actually, and then put in the other three. Go ahead and grab your electrical connector. Plug that back up. And then as you see this extension right here, just slides right down inside of there. And that side's good to go. You can go ahead and move over to this side and make this nice and easy. All you have to do is push this, slide it back inside of that little sleeve, and this pops right back into that little hole. And then you just plug this bad boy in right here. Don't force anything, let it line up, take your time. Alright, go ahead and put your top line back on. And hopefully yours is actually in a better spot than mine is. I'm actually going to pull this back off. And do the same thing we did with the lower hose. And realign this. And get it a little bit closer to where it's going to be installed, so it's not in the way of that AC line. There you go. Now you've got plenty of room to go ahead and grab this. Make sure your hose is all the way down. Good. Nope. There we go. Perfect. Alright. You go ahead and reinstall the radiator supports. They are universal, so it does not matter which side they go on. Had to check that real fast before I opened my mouth and said something wrong. And the last bolt goes to the AC support, AC line support. And then at the same time, you just go ahead and alright. And then the last thing you want to do is reconnect your overflow tank line. Make sure that it goes on top. It needs to go underneath the AC support, but on top of your upper radiator hose. Make sure it lines up like that. You don't need it to have any kind of resistance in there because it gets pinched off of something. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Go ahead and refill your system. I was looking around while doing this job and I didn't see any bleed screw on the coolant system to let air out, and I'm pretty sure from what I can tell that this is the highest point on the cooling system, so naturally all the air should collect here. So there's no need to burp the system or get air out of it, whatever you want to call it. And also make sure that your butterfly valve down there is closed. It should come that way from the store, but you never know. Just double check to be safe. Alright, and that's it. Thanks for watching.